Hi, my name is Rob Douglas. I'm the founder and CEO of BioConnect. I'd like to welcome you to our first digital trade show. We're doing this in honoring the traditions of the ISE West event, which has been rescheduled to July. But we thought we would take this opportunity to continue to advance the ongoing interest of ISE West and provide you a digital trade show. So what I'd like to do in our keynote address is to walk you through everything you would experience as though you had actually joined us at our booth. But before I do that, I do want to take a moment and just recognize something that's very significant, a historic moment. This COVID-19 event that we are all in this together is something that's I guess from a BioConnect perspective for our customers and our partners, I do sincerely wish your health and for all of us then that we successfully move through this particular issue successfully. But it brings a new meaning to me when I think about this keynote address. What I want to do today is I don't want to pitch something to you. What I'd like to do is to discuss things that can actually help you. And that's really the way that we're approaching this particular trade event in light of this event that is historic, it's affecting all of us, and I'm hopeful that we'll find a speedy way through it and save lives in the process. So the event that we've got planned, my keynote address is to follow this particular agenda. We're going to talk about the event, the digital event itself that's coming up, talk about BioConnect. I really want to take some time and talk about the threats that are really centered around the enterprise, and then look at what are the tools that we have access to increase security and help protect companies on an ongoing basis. We'll talk about something called BioConnect Labs that may be of interest to you as an innovation center to go solve tomorrow's problems today. And then I'll finish with talking about the driving force behind BioConnect. So the event that starts today, it's Wednesday, goes right through till Friday. You're going to see that there are 3 keynote events at 10 to 10:30 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be my keynote address. It will be a live event in that you can actually submit any questions as you're going through the keynote and we'll respond to you real time, so you're getting real-time feedback from us. Then from 12 to 1 East Coast time, we have our CTO, who's also a CISO and is also a certified locksmith, who will share with you some, we call it cool tech, but just present to you what's happening in the world of technologies to improve the physical security of your operations. He will also be live from 12 to 1 on all 3 days. And then on the third day, we have our partners who are joining us for a panel discussion, and that's going from 1 to 2 o'clock, as our partner ecosystem is very much alive and well in our digital event. So that's what we've got planned. Oh, the other thing I just would mention is that we also have now over 120 pre-scheduled half-hour appointments. What you can do, if any of you are interested, these are going on all through the 3 days. If you wish to join and would like a specific meeting to talk more detail about what your areas of interest are, you can just go to bioconnect.com. You're going to see it right there. You can actually just request a meeting and we'll confirm a meeting for you to engage with us at any time through the next 3 days. So, first digital trade event. Our intentions are to drive value to you. Our intentions to make it very real and helpful in light of the environment that we're operating in. The other thing I would say is, as somebody who's lived up and down growth economies as well as down economies, the truth is that security and the need for security lives whether we're in an up economy or a down economy. There are obviously some changes we need to consider, but the need for security is paramount, and we as a company will continue to do our part to help in the overall security of the enterprise. So just about BioConnect itself. So we are in the business of enabling trust in the connected world. So fundamentally what that means is, how do we create a world where 7 billion people can actually trust each other digitally and physically as we conduct different events through the course of the enterprise. Our interest is to find a way to unify authentication across the enterprise so that Rob, how he physically gets into facilities and how he digitally interacts with applications or assets within the company is in fact the same person. So this particular question has been going on for, I don't know, at least 15 years. And this is about how do you unify the identity. Some people use the word physical and logical unification, or physical and digital, but it fundamentally means the same thing. How can we have the same person for digitally and physically in and around the enterprise? The areas that we can actually add value is, I've described it as security-enabled revenue. This is different. And what I'm referring to are actual technologies that will allow you to be able to sell your security services to your customers to drive revenue. And in particular, in a down economy, this becomes even more important as every one of us look for ways to drive revenue in a down economy. The second is, we really tighten up compliance, whether it's digital or physical compliance responsibilities. We get to trust. We move away from credentials and get further along the journey of confirming the real identity of people and authenticating them digitally and physically. And the third area is that we found a very novel and simple way to be able to unify the digital and physical enterprise and do it very cost effectively. So that's really about BioConnect. So let's talk about the challenges that we're all experiencing right now, and I just want to drill into every one of them. So fundamentally, if I'm a CISO, or I'm a director of physical security, or I'm in the IT security operations center, the type of issues that I'm dealing with are cyber attack surface area. So how do I reduce the surface area, both digital and physical? This is a problem and a challenge that we all are experiencing and have been for some time. The second area is, when people are using cards, key fobs, keys, and passwords, the truth is, just the insanity now is that these things called key fobs and keys or cards are now incredibly simply duplicated. I used to think it was a big deal that I could hand over my credentials and you could be me to get into a facility or into a particular area. It's gotten way worse than that. We're going to talk about that here in a moment. These things can be replicated in 10 minutes. So whether you're a good actor or a bad actor, this credential that we're using as a way of authenticating a person to get in and around facilities is over. And we've got to find a way to fundamentally solve this problem. And of course, the next area is about biometric data security, privacy, and touchless readers. The truth is, I had no idea I'd be talking about touchless readers. But when we talk about the COVID-19 effect, people are not wanting to touch physical devices anymore. So you can see it already, a swing or an interest in trying to find ways, how can the human interact with door access without actually having to touch a reader? And so we've got something to talk about there. Privacy all centers around your biometric information. So how do we create a world where I can protect the privacy of my biometric information and I feel secure about that? And then also the data security, the data itself. Where is the data being stored? How do I keep it local to me? How does the enterprise make it so that I can retain it and have control over it? So these are common issues. Other issues, well, we got a new one. The down economy. What happens in down economies? Well, what happens is typically it gets harder for all of us to succeed, but equally is that the security threats go up because as people are becoming more and more hungry for money to be able to operate their lives, they turn to sort of bad actor activities in order to gain access to information or assets or otherwise. And this problem only grows as the down economy matures. And then the last area in terms of where the threats exist is how do I have the same person digitally and physically? Like literally for decades, we as the enterprise have been walking around with digital authentication solutions and physical authentication solutions, and they've never talked to each other. They're completely independent. So I could be Rob in the digital world and I could be Jerry in the physical world, and nobody would have any understanding that that's the case. So these problems are real. We use the term of identity as the new security perimeter because we think of it digitally and physically. How do we get higher levels of assurance of identity as far out before you get into the crown jewels of the enterprise? How do we get that identity confirmation at the furthest edge of the point where you're communicating or getting physical access to the enterprise? Now, the neat part about BioConnect, these threats, all 5 of these that we've talked about, all are solved by the BioConnect platform. And a part of this conversation will show you real examples of how we do that. So let me just show you a real example of the new threat that exists for keys, key fobs, and cards.
Today we'll be taking... Hi, my name is Stephen Heather, and I'm a Strategic Account Manager here at BioConnect. So today we'll be taking a closer look at one of the most common aspects in physical security in any building today, the key fob, and just how easy it is to spoof. Fobs are an approximated identity for any one employee or anyone trying to gain access to a building. This is a system that uses a simple numerical value for any one person and attributes it to a key fob, which means if we're able to duplicate a key fob, then anyone with that duplicate key can gain access to a building. Now, these are very common because it's simple, cost-effective, and easy to use. There are ways in which you can fortify the process through some kind of step-up or mobile authenticator. So today we'll be analyzing how easy it is to actually go out and get somebody to duplicate one of these fobs for you. We anticipate that this will be a simple Google search, a small fee, and a little bit of time in order to do it. Okay, so I found this place on Google, 5-minute drive from the office. I'm gonna go in there and see if I can't get this fob duplicated, see how much it is, see how long it takes. Got one, got two. Let's go see if it works. So first, I'm gonna try the original. Works as expected. And here's the duplicated fob and the moment of truth. No way. It actually worked. I don't know why, but I was skeptical about whether or not it would work. It was just such a fast and cheap process. So off the bat, I talked about a way in which that we fortify this solution. What we do is we enable any enterprise to take this current solution and apply an additional layer of security by using mobile authenticators for an additional step up. Let's check it out. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you exactly how we use the mobile authenticator to force a step up at the time you pass the fob. Okay, so in summary, like we just saw, I had my original card. I easily found a place to spoof this. So the overall process was to go online, do a quick Google search. We found about 5-6 different places that would actually offer the service to duplicate my existing key fob. We just picked the closest one. It was about 5 minutes away from the office. And I went in there. The process was very simple, walked up to the individual, no questions asked. They had the process done in about 5-10 minutes. And all in all, it cost about $30 plus gas money. 5 minutes, not much. So what we've proved today is that this solution, albeit extremely common in the marketplace today, is not very secure.
Houston, we have a problem. You see, what you just witnessed there took Stephen to be able to do it. It took him really no time to be able to go find a place nearby to be able to replicate his key fob. So really, we live in a world now where whether you're using an HID Prox card, an iClass card, a key fob, or keys, you can now go into convenience stores and replicate them. And so if you're the security operations leader of your enterprise, or you're the CISO, or you're the director of physical security, whether you're a good actor or a bad actor, we've now, the marketplace has created a world where you can replicate these things at will. And here's an example. So I was recently in San Diego, and I went into a 7-Eleven, and there is this kiosk. This is really a digital kiosk of the next generation of the locksmith. You can actually go here, get keys cut, key fobs, or cards. This is a company that is actually providing a great service in the market. However, the unintended consequences of their great business success is them plus their competitors. There's going to be now 20,000 of these types of kiosk devices across the country. There's probably at least 8,000 already. And the unintended consequence is for the enterprise, we have just uncovered a new security threat that must be addressed for the enterprise. Now I'm just going to show you some examples here in a moment of how we could go about solving that type of a security threat and address the 5 security threats that I just outlined here in a moment ago. The way we're doing it is, how do we unify identity physically and digitally? This unification, if we can solve that problem, we can solve many of the threats that I was referring to earlier on. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through the ISC West BioConnect booth. This is the actual booth, and you're about to have a very neat digital experience over the next 3 days of engaging with us and learning with us about how to solve the challenges of authentication across the enterprise. So why don't you join me? There's 3 areas that I'm going to talk about: is how to access doors, data center server cabinets, as well as digital applications of the enterprise. The first use case.
BioConnect's mobile authenticator at the door. Just walk up and tap your card. Then use your biometrics to authenticate. And you are through the door.
So the interesting thing, look at that use case. That use case is a user was able to go to an existing HID card reader, tap with their card, and receive a multi-factor push notification to their phone, do an authentication, and complete that identity transaction. That use case completely solves the threat that exists of what I just showed you on the previous slide. And so the neat thing about that particular use case is not only is it doing multi-factor authentication, it's also doing biometrics. In fact, now in a world where we're looking for how to have non-community touched readers, I can now, I as the user have really a touchless solution. This unit is sitting on the wall. I'm in possession of my own card and my own phone, and I'm using these 2 personal devices to communicate with this piece of hardware to authenticate myself and move away from actually touching any physical item. Now let me show you the second example.
Duo to the data center with BioConnect. Just tap your card at the cabinet reader, then approve the step up with Duo. And the cabinet is unlocked.
Okay, now this is also very interesting. In fact, this is probably 2 years in the making. It was, in fact, one of our customers over 2 years ago who came to us. They were a Duo security customer. And Duo Security is the market leader of authentication systems for digital applications. They recently were purchased by Cisco, and these systems are deployed in, 20 or 25,000 different enterprises. And so this is the digital multi-factor authentication solution where a user is pushing in their ID and their password. They're getting a push notification to provide additional trust before confirming whether somebody's going to be gain access to digital applications, VPN access, and so on. Can you imagine a world now where you take all of those IT-approved digital authenticators and now just bring them to access points? Well, you see, that's what BioConnect has now been able to do. So very simply, as you'll hear more about, is that we found an easy way to be able to allow authentication of any access point. It could be a door, a server cabinet, a vault. It could be any small space, any large space that you want to be able to provide higher levels of security to the existing infrastructure. So let me show you the third example.
BioConnect adds an additional layer of security for high-risk wire transfers. Christina has already logged into her account and is now going to send a secure wire transfer. After choosing the transfer and selecting complete, Christina is asked to verify her identity. She receives a push notification from BioConnect's mobile authentication app. Christina authenticates using her eyes for this transfer to prove her identity. The authentication is successful and the transfer has been approved.
So that particular use case is you're using now biometrics that are bound to the application, in this case a wire transfer, in order to provide higher levels of authentication of user trust. So those are 3 use cases. Let me just drill in a little bit further. If you could go to the next slide for me, please. So really what BioConnect has done is created a new category. And the category is, how do I bring multi-factor authentication to access points? So rather than the physical world for decades has been building its own authentication platforms. Why don't we just go to the digital world and take the ones that are already trusted and proven and approved by IT and the Security Operations Center and bring those authenticators to doors and server cabinets? Why do we do that? And that's in essence what's happened. So the BioConnect platform today is integrated with 80% of the world's top access control systems, we've been integrated into the access control world for a long time. We began this journey 10 years ago. And what's happened recently is we're now integrated into more than 60% of the digital authenticators. So Duo, Okta, RSA, and Ping are now authenticators, plus the biometric one from BioConnect. These authenticators that are being used by thousands and thousands of companies are now, those users are able to now authenticate into their physical access. And what we'll be doing in the second half of this year, we'll be integrating into platforms like Splunk or SIMS in order to be able to pull that data and unify a data experience digitally and physically for the enterprise. So if you think about it, so I'm in an office, I'm going to be able to have higher levels of authentication physically getting into the facility. I could be gaining access to specific areas within the facility where I've got to provide higher authentication than just a card or a key fob. Or I'm sitting down at my desk, and how am I actually authenticating in order to get into applications? Could I be the same person who's digitally authenticating with Duo security as the same person who's getting into the physical office? Could I actually build business rules or logic so that unless I've authenticated to get into the facility, I can't get onto those digital applications? Well, the answer is yes. And there's great examples where compliance applications would want to know that before gaining access. Why should a user be able to get into digital applications if they haven't proven they're in the facility when we require them to use VPN, higher authentication remotely when they're working out of their house? So that's an example of a use case where we can tighten up the physical and the digital authentication for the protection of the enterprise. Or, of course, if you want to even think about how do I get down into customer cages if I'm a co-location facility or a data center, how do I protect and partition who gets access into the cages? How do I partition who's getting access into individual server cabinets? So I have a question for you. How many of your server cabinets are still using a door handle or a key to get access? Well, it turns out just about all of us. In fact, very, very few of the 30 million server cabinets that exist in the world today have anything but a handle or a key. It's less than a decimal point of a percentage of people who've upgraded to a card reader. Well, why don't we even move past that? Why don't we actually get to higher levels of authentication of all access to data? And that's what BioConnect can now do. So when you look at it from a solution perspective, I'll just give you the landscape of what's possible. So in high security applications and low security applications, or where you want people trust versus device trust, or you want to be able to augment device trust with the trust of the human, how do you fundamentally do that? So we provide solutions where, okay, so yes, in today's world, people are there. This is a face recognition device. It's a high throughput, high quality, indoor rated, that you can move and authenticate large volumes of people and they don't touch anything. Or another example could be is I could be using one of our biometric readers. So this is a new product that we'll be bringing into the market shortly, which is really a device that uses Suprema templates. It has the BioConnect link technology built into it, so a user can either use their finger or present a card and receive a push notification to do like a Duo step-up authentication. So if you've got really high security applications, these are the great tool sets to be able to use for that. At the same time, if you're looking for, wait a minute, I just want to upgrade my card and get to a multi-factor authentication, or I want to get to biometrics at the door or the cabinet without actually screwing a device onto the door, you can now do that with a BioConnect link. So BioConnect link with your mobile device upgrades a card reader, an HID card reader, like literally, simply. This HID card reader can become now a multi-factor authentication and change and replace nothing. Yeah, I said it. You literally, this solution allows you to keep all of the existing infrastructure at your door, right through to your access control system. And the way we do that is that we actually really give you a do-it-yourself solution, if you would like. So we can actually ship you one of these B-Link devices. This little device is physically, that unit comes in this little box. All you need to do, it's a 3-step process. You put this right near the panel. Step 1 is put 2 screws into the wall. Step 2 is to grab, if you had 4 doors, weakened in and then weaken out to the panel. So up to 4 doors, and then bring in a PoE Cat5 here, and the installation is complete. A 3-part installation. And then you can grab your mobile device, take a picture of the QR code, and it will actually now light up. It will give you the ability to light up the door systems, and when you're completed doing that, you now have multi-factor authentication at any door that you want lit up. In fact, furthermore, if you're already using a multi-factor authentication solution like one of the 4 that I've mentioned, you don't even have to re-enroll. You're in a world where you can actually now have thousands of users, or hundreds of users, now be able to go and do a step-up authentication at your door systems. So not only are we providing higher security with this particular solution, the other thing we're doing is we're able to bring it away from a world where people actually have to touch things by using your own card. You're walking around and carrying your own card, and you're carrying your own phone, and those two in combination can bring higher security to access to any door or to any server cabinet or any small space that you want to manage. People are wanting to now put our solution into vaults and other small spaces. So you can do that with biometrics. You can also do that with the world's authentication platforms. You can now bring all of that into your solution. And by the way, these 2 solutions are the first to market of this type of a solution. So as you'll see here in a moment, we'll talk more about what our brand promise is for you. But the basic idea is, how do we bring more security to all those doors that are out there? How do we do it without having to re-enroll people? How do we do it simply and cost effectively? And then the other part that's sort of really cool about this is you're really now bringing data from all of those access points into a combined area like a SIM or wherever you're controlling your security information digitally and physically can now actually be brought together so that you've got a broader picture. Your security operations center has a broader picture of what's actually going on around your enterprise. So what are we actually providing? Another market first that we're doing, and it seems actually sort of interesting to be talking about this now in a down economy. Our brand promise is to provide you enterprise security, to do it privately. It's an on-prem system with a cloud connection, and deliver it simply and reliably. And we're backing up that with a guarantee. If for any time we are 4 nines of availability, if we drop below 4 nines for your service, the next month is on us. So we're standing behind this brand promise. So when we talk about enterprise security, this is about the security of the solution, the security of the data, which is our core business. We've been doing this for a long time. It's about privacy. How do I keep the personally identifiable information on-prem? How do I keep the biometric information on device? And then the cloud connection is being able to now manage this solution so that we can deliver the simplicity of the solution and also be able to communicate to the multi-factor authentication cloud providers in order to bring multi-factor authentication to your door. The third area is we're unifying multi-factor authentication at doors and server cabinets. It's a market first. You'll be quite surprised and I think potentially pleased with how simple this solution is to be able to bring much higher security to all the access points across the enterprise. The fourth is it's a human trust being augmented on top of device trust. So if you want to get to a world where you're bringing biometric information in addition to device trust to be able to have higher levels of assurance of the person, then this is a way to do it. So can I use the biometrics that are built on my phone? Well, the answer is yes, you can. But what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is that the biometrics that are built on the phone are fantastic, but they're like a padlock. It's a personal relationship between me and the device. I'm using my biometrics, my face recognition on this iPhone in order to be able to unlock access to this device. But this has nothing to do with building trust for the enterprise application, like physical security or doing wire transfers. And so the biometrics that are part of the platform are actually bound to the user so that we establish trust. And that's being done by the enterprise. So in the enrollment sequencing, the enterprise is really enrolling the user for face recognition or voice or another application that we have. And that is where the binding occurs and when the trust is established. So every time I use the face recognition or the eye recognition coming from BioConnect or voice, we know for sure that it's actually Rob. And that's the point about putting trust on top of device trust. The fifth area of our value is the ecosystem integration. No company on the planet has plugged itself into more of the ecosystem than BioConnect. 60% of the multi-factor authentication providers are already plugged into BioConnect. This is a market first. And that is very important, connecting it also to the 80% of the top physical access control systems. So the fact that we've actually integrated to the physical world and the digital world is what's making this unification possible. And the last part I would just offer is about the data. So I'm visualizing now your security operations team has got a new data set that it can now start triangulating and understanding potential threats that exist across the enterprise by looking at digital as well as physical transactions to build greater confidence of and reduce risk and look for trends by this new data set. So I'll switch gears here for a moment. I'll just mention BioConnect Labs. So BioConnect Labs, if you have any security issue around identity, digitally or physically, that the marketplace has not yet solved, and it's critical to you, and you are looking for partners or a partner to be able to innovate around solving tomorrow's problems today, the BioConnect Labs is a great infrastructure or playground for innovation. So we do this with our customers, with our partners. We have government investments in this. This is a incubation area where innovation is continuously occurring all around identity and physical and digital authentication. This is the space we're operating in. In fact, an example of an output of this, I would say for probably every 20 projects that we work on, one or two of them hit through to commercialization. The most recent one is what I just showed you. So this Link solution that we've brought to market, this is a perfect example of a lab activity that started 2 years ago that is manifested into full production system. And so please contact us if this is an area of interest to you in order to stay ahead and continue to innovate to keep your company safe and advanced of others. Here's some examples of in some innovations that are going on right now inside the labs. Right now, we've actually already built it. We've already proven it out where Rob can still present his card at the door and through the video camera do the authentication of Rob through face recognition. We've already built that use case, we just haven't commercialized it. Another example that's being worked on right now is actually building an algorithm on your footprint. So the way you actually move through facilities, I can actually build a template of the likelihood it's you. I'm just showing you recent other examples of innovations with our customers and our partners that have been incubated and solved that may find themselves into commercial product into the future. But these are just examples of, you can work with us in a way that's beyond just sort of a vendor-customer relationship in order to solve real security problems around identity and authentication. So how do we do this? So our driving force around BioConnect is really our team. And our team is really centered on, we have 7 core values, and the one I really want to draw attention to is one of our core values is protect our customers. So it's not good enough for us to be able to see that you're satisfied. It's actually not even good enough that you become raving customers, although that's certainly what we seek. Our objective is to get you to the point where you rave about our solutions and you would therefore be willing to share that with others. But it's even beyond that. It's actually protecting you. You see, we're a security company. And what we're always looking for is what are we doing that's actually helping protect you against the threats that exist in the world, against the threats that I outlined at the beginning of this conversation. And so this is really just a summary of enabling trust in the connected world. This is how we think about our company. We're very centered on helping you drive revenue through security, helping you further the adherence to compliance requirements that you have, and to provide you an ability to unify the authentication of people digitally and physically. And how do we do it? We've got a great team. So we have over 900 customers globally. 90% of them are across the US, markets that we serve: financial services, data center co-location, utilities, telecommunications, and other sectors, the tech industry. We do a lot of work in. Anywhere where you've got a lot of regulation associated with industry segments is an area that we do really, we add a lot of value to. And we're a very innovative company, we're a can-do company, and that's BioConnect. So thank you for joining. I really do hope that you gained some value from what we've talked about. I do hope that your family remains safe and that we come out the other end of this stronger together. And I'm also hopeful that you enjoy the 3 days that we've prepared of our digital trade show. Thank you. I hope to see you again sometime soon.
For more information, visit our website at bioconnect.com/virtual trade show.